in case you have a quantitative data that you want to analyze, but you don't want to use SPSS or Stata, you just want to use an AI to help you to make sense of your data. But you don't want to do it in such a way that you will not get rich information from the system. So I'm going to give you step by step how to analyze your quantitative data using two AI tools, right? You can use ChatGPT or Julius AI, and I'm going to show you the process. But one thing I just want to tell you is that when it comes to quantitative analysis, you have to have a background information, the basic understanding of statistics. I think that will really help you. It helps you so that you'll be able to prompt the system in a way that you can get good information or accurate information from the system. You can also be able to evaluate the output. So it's very important for you to learn a little bit about statistics before you can use an AI tool in an efficient. So these are the steps that you could follow when you are about to analyze your quantitative data. So the data that we're going to use is this is just for demonstration purpose. So this one, I just want to find out the relationship between student peer pressure and academic stress, and also family pressure and academic stress. So as you can see here, the purpose of my study is to determine the key factors that influence student academic stress levels. And the focus is more about the peer and family pressure that contribute to overall stress, right? So that's what I'm going to focus on. I have the one research question, which is higher peer and family pressure associated with higher level of academic stress among students? And then I have my hypothesis here, right? So we're going to also talk about the prompt, right? The prompt that you have to use to help you to get rich information. So you can see here that you have to provide a context when you are providing a prompt, context, background information, what your studies are about, what is the purpose of your study. And then you have to provide a command, right? What exactly you want the tool to help you to analyze. What do you want the tool to do? And then lastly, you want the output. What kind of output do you need? And we're going to talk more about that. But when you are analyzing your quantitative data, there are some things that you have to note. So the first one, you have to know your variables. So what are your variables? As you can see here, I have three main variables. The first one is the peer pressure, and the second one is the family pressure, and the last one is academic stress, right? These are the variables that I'm focusing on. You are not only knowing the variables, but also knowing the kinds of variable. Are they continuous variable? Are they categorical variables? So let's look at our data that we're going to use. So as you can see here, peer pressure is a continuous variable, right? And then family pressure is also a continuous variable. And then we have stress here. It's also a continuous variable. You can also explore other variables here, but the main purpose is to focus on these three variables, right? So now that you know your variables, the second aspect is to state your hypothesis, right? What kind of prediction that you want to make based on your variables. So you can state a null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. So null hypothesis stating that there's no significant relationship or difference between variables, right? Normally, you can only state the alternative hypothesis, right? This means that there's a relationship or difference between variables, right? That's an example of an alternative hypothesis, right? And the opposite is the null hypothesis. So normally, I state the alternative hypothesis. Then the next step is to think about what is the best statistical analysis that you have to use. Right. So based on the kind of variables and also the hypothesis that you want to test, it can help you to decide the statistical test that you want to use. You can also look at the sample size. It can also affect the test that you want to do, right? So knowing the best statistical analysis is also very important. If you don't know, that's okay. You can ask the AI to, based on your hypothesis or based on the research question, the AI can suggest the best statistical analysis that you can use. There are two types of tests. We have the parametric tests and the non-parametric tests. So these are the examples of parametric tests: the t-test, ANOVA, linear regression, and Pearson correlation. And also the non-parametric tests is man would need you test and other ones, right? Cross Wallace test. I hope I mentioned that right. And Chi test and also Spearman correlation. So these are the tests that you can do, but it all based on the hypothesis that you want to test, right? If you want to know more about it, you can also use AI to learn more about all these kind of tests, right? But the most important thing is that AI can help you to determine the right statistical test, right? So the next one is to also explore the test assumptions associated with the test that you have selected. AI can help you to run these assumptions, making sure that your selected test meets the assumptions associated with it. Then you go ahead and run your test, and then you can see your results, and you can also then write your results in APA format. AI can help you to complete each of these steps. So let's try and see whether we'll be able to use AI, ChatGPT or Julius AI to analyze your quantitative data. So first, let's go to Julius AI. So when you go to Julius AI, I have a link in my video description there. You can click on that to get access to Julius AI. So Julius AI is a very good software when you have a quantitative data. It can easily run huge amount of quantitative data. It uses models like Claude, GPT-5, and other current models that are available to help you to make sense of your data. And we're going to try and use it and see what we're going to get. If you have any question, let me know. I'll be happy to address them for you. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I have more videos that will be helpful for you. Right. So we can also use ChatGPT to help us to make sense of our quantitative data. I'm going to also show you that. And the third one is I've created a custom GPT within ChatGPT where you can use it for free to help you to analyze your quantitative data. It's called StatInfer AI. And I'll be putting the link in the description so that if you want to explore that and learn more and use it to make sense of your quantitative data, that would be awesome. And also you can provide me some feedback, right? So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do here is first we're going to upload our data. So I click here, go to upload file. So let's go to Julius AI. So we are Julius AI right now. So when you go to Julius, you click on new and click on chat. Right, and this is what you're going to see. And then you click on a plus sign here, you click on upload file, and then upload my file, right? Click on open, and then the file has been uploaded. The next step is to provide a prompt. Let me show you the prompt I'm going to use. So when you are providing a prompt, this we call a context prompting. Content prompting is where you provide all the background information that will help the AI to better understand what the data is about and what you want to find out, right? And then you provide a command, right? And then a command is what exactly you want the AI to do. And lastly, you want to also provide information about the output. What kind of output that you want the AI to produce or provide to you. So whenever you are given a prompt, right, and you want to rich information or good response, provide context, provide command, and provide an output. So this is a format I'm going to follow. So the context here, I'm just telling the system about what I want to analyze, what the data set is all about, what the variables that I'm focusing on. And I'm also providing my goal, right, for the system to know what exactly I want to accomplish. So the goal is to test whether high peer and family pressure are associated with higher academic stress. This is what I want to focus on, and then I give it a command. So I'm telling the system to run appropriate tests. You see here, I did not specify the kind of test, right? So you write this one, so you provide this command if you don't have an idea about a test that you want the system to run. So the system, based on what you want to find out or based on your goal, the system will decide the right statistical analysis for your study of based on the data that you have, right? And then we are also asking the system to check assumptions associated with the selected tests. So, the system will check the assumptions and then run the alternative test when the assumptions are not met. So this means that one thing that you have to understand is every statistical test has assumptions. The system will make sure that all the assumptions are met before it runs the analysis, right? If it initially choose appropriate statistical test and then realize that the assumptions are not met, right? Then it will run an alternative test. So that's the command. Then this one, so here you are asking the system to provide a justification based on the test that it has chosen. You want it to provide you the results, right? And then also brief interpretation of the results. And then it has to present that information in APA, the summary table. So you have to provide an APA formatted summary table. And one thing I also want to add is that I want it to also present the result in APA format, right? So I want the system to provide the results in APA format and also give us APA table. This is the whole prompt that we're going to use. So I'm going to copy this prompt and then I go back to Julius AI and put the prompt there and then click on enter. So as we are waiting for the results, so we go to ChatGPT, do the same thing. So I'm using GPT-5, this is the paid version. You have options for GPT-5 Auto, Instant, and also Thinking. I use Auto for the system to decide whether it wants to use the Thinking or the instant version. So I click on plus here, add auto all files. So I've attached the data, put a prompt, the same prompt that I put for Julius, and let's see what we're going to get. As we are waiting for the results, I can also show you how to get access to the custom GPT that I've created, right? So when you go to Explore, here you can search for Philip Edu, and it will pull up all my publicly available custom GPT. So I have many of them. So you scroll down and go to see more so that you can get, so you see here, StatInfer AI, you click on that and then you click on stats. And then on the same thing, I'm going to attach the data set and I'm going to put the prompt here and let's see the results so that we can compare. So let's go back to Julius. Julius is still working on providing all information that we need. So I think it's done. So let's scroll up here and see what is provided to us. All these are explanation about the processes it passed through. So let's go down and see all these are Python code. I'm not familiar with the Python code, so I'll not spend any time looking at it. So here you can see here that it has, it's just like it's making the data ready for analysis, right? So let's see what we have. So the count is the number of participants. We have 140 participants, and this is the mean for the peer pressure, and this is the mean for family pressure, and also this is the mean for academic stress, and then we have the standard deviation. So this one is just a descriptive statistics, right? The mean and the standard deviation. And then it's telling you that it wants to use multiple linear regression, right? So these are the independent variables, which is the peer pressure and family pressure. The variable is the academic stress. And then it checks for assumptions. So these are the assumptions, normality test, multicollinearity test. So if you're not familiar with this, that's okay. The most important thing is that it ran the test and it provided whether they meet the assumptions associated with linear regression. So in terms of homoscedasticity, the assumptions was met. And let me see this one, whether the assumptions was multicollinearity. So this one is also indicate that it was met. It looks like all the assumptions were met. So that's the good news. So then this one is the results in APA format, right? So you see here that multiple linear regression was conducted to examine whether peer pressure and family pressure predicted academic stress level in university students. Overall model was statistically significant. So it has given you all the information here and indicating moderate to large effect size. Okay, that's good. So it has done what we expected to do. And it did another analysis here. No, it didn't do any analysis. I think it provided individual kind of how individual um, predictors are contributing to the outcome variable, which is the academic stress. Peer pressure statistically predicted academic stress, and also family pressure statistically predicted academic stress. So that's a very good news. Non-parametric confirmation. Oh, okay, so the system also performs Spearman correlation, confirming the relationship between the two variables, right? A Spearman correlation is done when the assumptions concerning Pearson correlation wasn't met, right? So the system run a correlation between the peer pressure and academic stress and also family pressure and academic stress, and the relationship was strong. There was a statistically significant relationship between them. So this is the interpretation provided that information. Okay, so the APA format table, this doesn't look like an APA format table. So maybe that's the only thing that I'm not satisfied, but overall, everything is good. And everything that you need for you to write your results, if you are working on your research or working on your dissertation, it's very good information. So as I said, this software is so good and accurate in terms of running statistical analysis using AI. So let's go to ChatGPT and see what we got. So ChatGPT also did multiple linear regression and then similar to Julius AI, but it shows here that there was a violation of an assumption associated with regression analysis. So the system used Spearman correlation. It has provided all the information about, Spearman result in terms of correlation. So it shows that there is a correlation between the peer pressure and academic stress, and also family pressure and academic stress, but it wasn't written in APA format, similar like what was done in Julius. So you can see here, but this is the nice way of writing the results in APA format. But you can also further prompt the system to provide the right format. You can say that, can you rewrite this one in APA, and the system will be able to do for you. Sometimes you can provide an example and the system will be able to do that. So in a plain language, this is the interpretation. This table is good, right? See how it has been formatted. It's quite close to APA format. That is very good, right? Okay, so it actually want us to whether we want to run a multiple regression. I would say not. I think I'm satisfied with what the system has provided, except that it didn't write this one in APA format. But I also see the multiple regression analysis. So what I'm going to do is it just presented an association between variables. I think technically when you are looking at a research question, right, or hypothesis, I think we are looking into the relationship. So Spearman is okay for us to answer our research question or test the hypothesis that we have, but the system can go further and do multiple regression. So I'm going to say, yes, go ahead and do multiple regression. As we are waiting for the results, let's go to my GPT, my custom GPT, and see the results. So my custom GPT provide you first step one, variable information. So the system is just, confirming the variables that we want to explore. Okay, so we are exploring the dependent variables, academic stress, and the independent variables are the peer pressure and family pressure. So the test that the system is suggesting is multiple regression, linear regression, and then provide justification, right? So the aim is to predict academic stress based on two continuous variables. So I think that that's the justification. And then in terms of assumptions, now it's actually okay, it want to proceed to do it. So these are a list of assumptions that it did. So it gives me a nice table about the results concerning assumptions. So linearity, so this one was met, and normality was also it says that it's normal, right? So homoscedasticity wasn't met. If you want to know more, you can always access system to get more information about these assumptions. For this presentation, I'm just going to quickly go through the assumptions and then we show you how the results looks like. So some of the assumptions were not met. So let's see what the system did. It says conclusion, all assumptions are reasonably satisfied, so multiple regression is appropriate. But this one wasn't met. Okay, so some of the assumptions were not met, but I think it will not have adverse effect if the system goes ahead and do multiple regression. So that's why it made a decision to do multiple regression. And then it's finished. It did the regression, and this is the results. Wow, this is a nice presentation of the results in APA format, right? And the plain interpretation, and then you can see the table, nice table, APA form. So if you want to do some more tests, you can go ahead and write it. It can also help you with the write-up. So you see how my custom GPT is very good, right? Compared to the using the general GPT. So you can also try and see what you're going to get, right? So this is what I have for you. So let me tell you, my background is more about qualitative, right? But these tools are also giving me more confidence on analyzing my own quantitative data because you are just interacting with the system. But the lesson here is to make sure that you are giving detailed prompt. We call it context prompting. Provide background information, right, which is the context, and then be clear about your command, what exactly you want it to do for you, and then what kind of output that you want the system to provide for you. And I think that is the key to get rich information from the system. And let me hear from you, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for your time.